Will Andrew Holness call it? All eyes on the Prime Minister to announce the date of the general election on Sunday.
Whatever I have worked hard and honestly for it. Of my intention to announce the general elections for him to set certain processes in place, including the dissolution of Parliament. I now declare that nomination day will be Monday, August 18th. And the general election date is fixed at Wednesday, September 3.
Labour right, we ready now. Labour right, we ready now. Ring the bell, them heavy now. Ring the bell, them heavy now. Labour right, we ready now. Labour right, we ready now. Get the anthem ready now. Get the anthem ready. The river coming down, no bank to bank, it's coming down. The river coming down, no bank to bank, it's coming down. Labour right coming down, to bank, it's coming down. Progress coming down, to bank, it's coming down. Who was the champion? Who was the big man?
Okay guys, so after a marathon Jamaica Labour Party rally that we saw in Halfway Tree, and this rally was for over 6 hours, I've been tuning, watching every single bit of this rally, and now we finally know that election day is September 3 and nomination day will be August 18. So election I've been talking about, we're so close to the election, but now it is finally here. Now we have the date of the Jamaica election for 2025. And I just have to say, the elephant in the room is the crowd. I have never seen a political rally in the history of Jamaica that massive. And I've been saying this for the past a month and a half leading up to the election, that it is going to be almost impossible for the People's National Party to defeat the Jamaica Labour Party in this election. And just being logical, based on the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party pretty much gave the People's National Party like a beat down, like a honest beat down the last election. So the Jamaica Labour Party with 49 seats and the People's National Party with only 14, the People's National Party would have to have an historic election in order to form the next government. And so based on just that, I have always, for the past couple of months, covering, leading up to the election, I've always been transparent that, look, this, not impossible, but it's close to impossible. But after seeing what took place tonight, and also after seeing what took place at the Jamaica 63 Independent Celebration, where the Prime Minister, normally a Prime Minister on his second term, and for the struggles that the Prime Minister went through with the Integrity Commission, coming out of COVID and all of that, when the Prime Minister entered the National Stadium, everyone was standing. So unless someone is going to say to me that everyone, over 30,000 people in the National Stadium, they were all unselected and they were all JLP, this Prime Minister looked like he's very popular at this point. Maybe 2 years ago, not so popular and there would be a chance. But based on what I'm seeing now, this is a clear win for the Jamaica Labour Party. And just take a look at the crowd.
Roll call, make your mark. Roll call, make your mark. Prosperity, we say, make your mark. Prosperity is yours. For Jamaica, you should vote. Roll call, brother, sister, roll call. Labour train.
roll call, roll call, roll call, roll call. Make your mark. Prosperity we say, roll call. An election day, put your X beside the bell. Roll call, Jamaica, make your mark. Roll call, make your mark. Roll call, make your mark. Prosperity we say, make your mark. Prosperity is yours for Labour Party, you should vote. Roll call, brother, sister, roll call. Anthony McCall, Kingston name a call. St. Andrew name a call. St. Catherine name a call. St. Thomas name a call. Portland name a call. St. Mary name a call. St. Ann name a call. Manchester name a call. Clarendon name a call. Trelawney name a call. St. James name a call. St. Elizabeth name a call. Hanover name a call. Westmoreland name a call.
Labour right. Who ready? Labour right, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, so guys, honestly, I have never seen a political rally this big. If you have ever seen a political rally in Jamaica this big, just let me know in the comment section. Halfway through, because now they have technology where the drone, you could have seen the drone flying over, and that crowd is easily over 50,000 people in halfway through. That is a massive crowd. I've seen crowds before in like Carnival. I've seen different events like in halfway through, but I've never seen a political rally this big. And so we know the date of the election. We don't have to speculate because the date of the election is finally here. And because the election is so close and we're tracking the election to bring you everything that is going on in this election, I wanted to take the opportunity to look at two of the promises that the political leaders are making for this election cycle. And we are used to, us as Jamaicans, we're used to promises. You know, there's a saying that promises are comfort to a fool. But these two promises are amazing promises that are on the table, and that if these two promises, if the first political party, whoever win this election, but whoever can come out with make this promise a reality, I believe that this would push Jamaica to another level. And one of the things I would also like to say is that historically, like in Jamaica, we don't question competency of our politicians. We have brilliant politicians in Jamaica, some of the smartest, some of the brightest politicians in the world. And Jamaica actually have a good structure, a good political foundation. The biggest problem that we have in Jamaica when it comes on to politicians is corruption. So we'll see all these amazing promises, and we'll see the same promise recycled election after election after election, and you wonder when are they going to finally get this promise to come to fruition. So that is the biggest problem that we see with our politicians in Jamaica. But nonetheless, let's take a look at these two promises. And the first one I want to take a look at is from the Jamaica Labour Party. And this has been about 5 months now. The Jamaica Labour Party has put this on the table, and it's unemployment insurance. And that is interesting because unemployment insurance is one of those policies that would typically be a PMP type policy. This is something that Michael Manley would have wanted to push through. And this is something that's been political leaders have been talking about for over 30 years. So this is mostly, I would call this like almost like a socialist agenda. So it is so interesting that the Jamaica Labour Party, that they're looking to push this through. But this would be a big game changer for Jamaica. Unemployment insurance would be an amazing victory. Anyone that can put this through, just imagine as a Jamaican and you're working and just an insurance just in case you lost your job. You don't have to worry about your mortgage not being paid. You don't have to worry about not being able to provide food for your family because the insurance would cover that for the time that you're unemployed. So if the Jamaica Labour Party can get this one through, this would be a big game changer.
Jamaicans could soon have a safety net during tough times as the government takes a major step toward introducing unemployment insurance. Labour Minister Pernell Charles Jr. confirmed at the Labour Talks Roadshow in Mandeville, Manchester, that Cabinet has approved the policy backed by the multi-million dollar investment. Ramon Gordon has more.
The unemployment insurance scheme is now one step closer to reality as the government works to establish a framework for temporary income support. Labour Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says it's a long time coming to strengthen the nation's workforce.
We have had the discussion on unemployment benefit for decades. When we talk about resilience, the unemployment benefit is going to be one of the most critical features in terms of being able to help people who have that transition between jobs or in times of crisis to still stay afloat.
The initiative aims to provide a financial safety net for workers facing job loss or economic downturns. Details on benefits are yet to be announced, with further updates expected in the coming months.
Okay, so that report was taken from CVM TV coming out of Jamaica. And as I said, I'm so surprised that the Jamaica Labour Party, that they are taking on this one in terms of the unemployment insurance, because this is a big deal and this would change things big time for workers in Jamaica. And as I said, the reason why I'm so surprised, because this unemployment insurance is seen like a socialist agenda. And we know that the People's National Party of Jamaica are considered the socialist party. And when you look at countries like America and you look at the Republican Party and you look at capitalism, like a big market, America with capitalism is a big thing. The last thing that especially that the Republicans want is for anything to do with like free healthcare, free education, and unemployment insurance is one of those things that they don't want. So they consider that as, socialist, almost close to communist agenda. So it is so good to see that this thing that is not something that historically you would think that the Labour Party, the Jamaica Labour Party would be pushing, but the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness, sees the need for an unemployment insurance. And as I said, this would be a game changer for Jamaica, because living in Canada, and Canada is one of the few countries, when you look at some of the top 10 countries in the world in terms of quality of life, all of those countries have something like this. It's like a safety net. If you're in Canada and you have a mortgage for $3,000-4,000 and you lose your job, that could be like you could go homeless. That's like a perfect recipe for being homeless. But because of the safety net of unemployment insurance, then you have like a buffer that you can pay your mortgage, you can take care of your family while you're in between jobs. So as I said, this is a big one from the Jamaica Labour Party. Okay, so up next, the next promise is coming from the opposition leader, Mark Golin, and Mark Golin is going back to the PMP roots, of affordable housing. Affordable housing was a big deal, or is still a big deal for the People's National Party. And Michael Manley was the one that started the National Housing Trust, and that was back in 1976. And the National Housing Trust, I would say that is one of the biggest achievement for any politician in Jamaica. And that was Michael Manley back in 1976, because traveling across different countries in the world, not a lot of countries have a program like this. Most countries, like even in Canada and the United States of America, you have to get a mortgage through the bank. And if you can't qualify for whatever reason through the bank, then you're not going to get it. So the fact that in Jamaica there's an option, and that is an option that I use that option. over 20 years ago when I was purchasing property to build my house, and at the time would not have qualified for a loan to buy land from any of the banks in Jamaica, but because of the NHT, I was able to buy that, to purchase land to build a house on. So that is where the opposition leader, Mark Golin, going back to their roots and to focus on affordable housing, especially for young people leaving universities. And a lot of people, a lot of young people now just can't see a way that they're ever going to be able to afford a house. So a lot of people are probably just giving up on the dream and to become renters for life. So that is what the opposition leader is focused on, affordable housing. And this was taken from a Let's Be Honest interview that was done a few months ago. Here at Carib 21, I'm on a mission to showcase the vibrant culture and the breathtaking beauty of the Caribbean while showcasing our culture and what is trending. If you want to support me on this mission, please subscribe. And if you also want to support, you can hit the comment section and buy me a cup of coffee. In order to buy me a cup of coffee, you can follow these instructions. Just click more. You will see the link to buy me a cup of coffee. Click the link. You can purchase 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and you'll be helping me to fulfill this mission. Thank you.
Young people nowadays, including myself, you probably think I'm in my 30s, but I'm not. The housing market is crazy.
It is.
And then when you look for minimum wage, and that's where like professionals, people who come out of UA, spend a bunch of years, even doctors, and the pay with them I get, it not add up.
No.
Like as a person, I'm a resident of the States as well. Groceries in Jamaica, way more than America.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because we import.
Right.
I don't know. What the PNP have planned for like make younger people can own some house, boy?
Well, we've been giving that a lot of thought, Jay, and we have some ideas. First of all, we want to establish within the NHT a fund to assist young people to get their deposit. Because at the time, the hard part is you have to have the deposit. Whether it be 10% or whatever the deposit is, it's not usually more than 10, but it's often up there, and a lot of people just can't, because of the cost of living that they mentioned and how high it is and salaries being relatively low, they can't really save enough for the deposit to pay down on the house. So we want to establish a fund. We've said we're going to do that of $1 billion, where any young person who's been contributing to the NHT for at least 2 years would be entitled to a grant towards their deposit of $500,000. And that is something which has played well because people see the need for it. We also have, for persons who are informally employed, meaning that they don't have a job where the employer is, making payroll deductions and so on, and they don't have a pay slip. It's hard for them to establish their proof of income to qualify for a mortgage loan. And we have a thing called rent to own, which is an idea that we have put out there that we want to implement. So if somebody who is a successful blogger or whatever and is making money that way, or whatever they may be doing, buying and selling or whatever, but they don't have a pay slip, they can apply for an NHT house and they can go in as a tenant. And over a relatively short period of time, we're thinking about 6 months, the rent would be fixed at the same amount as the mortgage would be. Okay. And as long as they're current and show that they can make the payments over, say, 6 months, then they would qualify for the mortgage without having to produce a pay slip. And then they could just roll that up and then get the mortgage and buy the house. Similarly now, under the rent to own, there's another category of person now who is struggling. They're renting where they live now, but they don't have it. Times are so hard, they can't save. For the deposit, and we would say, all right, they could rent an NHT house, and we would allocate a portion of their rental payments towards a deposit fund for them. So part of the rent would go, a good chunk of it would go into that rent account, and once your rent account equals the deposit that they need to pay, then they can draw down the mortgage and become the owner. So we're thinking about these things. We also want to over the last 12 years. $11.4 billion has been taken out of the NHT every year towards the budget. And it has really depleted the NHT of its cash resources and made it difficult for them to do the kind of transformational development of housing, affordable housing in particular, that really was the mandate for which they were established back in the 1970s under Michael Manley. So we want to recapitalize the NHT with lands, public lands that are suitable for housing, and then they can develop those lands in affordable housing solutions and sell them. And we are not going to charge the purchaser of the house for the land portion of it. We're going to exclude that from the price, which means if instead of an affordable house say, costing $14 million, it may cost 11 or so, you know, that kind of range based on our calculations. So that will immediately do two things. So one, it will make the house more affordable, especially for young professionals or persons who are just getting started in the home ownership game. And secondly, when they buy it, they will immediately have some equity in it because they would have got the house without having had to pay for the land portion of the value. And that would be a benefit to them. And they can now, you know, use that in the future as part of their asset base and their own personal and family wealth. So these are some of the ideas that we have. There are a few other things we want to do as well. You know, for some of our existing NHT borrowers, public servants, for example, you know, there was a policy in place that they got a discount on the interest rate on their mortgage loan for being a public servant. That was taken away from them. We want to put that back in place for them. For the borrowers at the lowest band, which is, I think, persons who earn up to $30,000 a week, they are in the lowest band. Right now, the insurance on the house, which is part of what they pay each month in their mortgage payment, has gone up because insurance rates, because of climate change and so on, insurance is getting more expensive. We said that we will let the fund absorb, the NHT will absorb the mortgage costs for that category of borrower and give them a break, you know. So those are some of the things. There are a couple of other things, like, for example, for public sector workers, again, right now, the way that the NHT assesses whether you're eligible to borrow is what they call the debt service coverage ratio, which is a relationship between the monthly payment and your monthly income. Yeah. And you can't be more than a certain percentage of that. And for the public sector workers, we're going to increase that percentage to give them more lee room to borrow a bit more so they can afford a house more easily. So we're really looking at the housing thing and trying to see how we can solve the problem. So we plan to do a major build out over the next 5 years of affordable housing, because that's really been a gap over the last 10 years or so. There's been a lot of construction of new buildings and new houses, but typically they're at prices that are not really within the outer range for most.
Okay, so that was the opposition leader, Mark Golding of the People's National Party, and those were some brilliant ideas that the opposition leader that he put out there to fix the housing crisis in Jamaica. And as I said earlier on, our politicians in Jamaica are brilliant. We have lawyers, we have doctors being politicians, we have some of the smartest people in the world being politicians. And over the years, over the past 40 years, the one thing that comes up every time we talk about politicians is corruption. Can we trust our politicians to do what they say that they're going to do? And that is the one problem that Jamaicans have with their politician. So, as I said, great ideas from both leaders. And one of the things that the opposition leader brought up is the billions of dollars that have been taken out of the National Housing Trust and rerouted to other areas, which is crazy to me, because the National Housing Trust is something that is deducted from your monthly paycheck, and it should be allocated to go towards home to solve Jamaica's housing crisis. And the fact that politicians know, the fact that they can now dip into it and to reroute it and to put it in other areas, that is not a good idea. So that really needs to be fixed. And I know that Mark Golding mentioned that it's been happening for a while, and that over the years, the Jamaica Labour Party, that they have taken out billions every year. But this actually started way before, like even under the People's National Party government, when PJ Patterson was in power, they started taking money out of the National Housing Trust, rerouting it. Because I remember the controversy, and this was under the People's National Party, when they used the NHT money to fund the Emancipation Park project. And that was a big uproar then. So that would be a good thing. Like if they could, I believe that all of those money that was rerouted from NHT should go back to NHT so people can have affordable housing in Jamaica. All the billions of dollars that were taken out over the years should be seen as a loan, and it should go back into the kitty, because it is ridiculous that you can take out billions of dollars out of something that was allocated to deal with the housing crisis. So, that's just my opinion, but I believe that these two ideas are great ideas in terms of the unemployment insurance and affordable housing for especially young people coming out of university. But who can keep this promise? That is the thing, because as was stated, unemployment insurance is something that's been talked about for over 30 years. We're in 2025, and since I was a boy, they have been talking about unemployment insurance, and none of the government can seem to get it going. So if the Jamaica Labour Party can get unemployment insurance going for Jamaicans, that would be a big deal. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Which one of these two promises from the two political leaders do you think Jamaica need right now? Do you think unemployment insurance or affordable housing? And who do you trust to get this done? Sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.